Hello, it is your Astro Coach Sarah here for Wellness Astrology, this time for the moon in Pisces. Okay, how we doing? Everybody doing okay out there? All right, this is April 23rd and 24th. What is that? Tuesday? I don't even know. Um, okay, it's Wednesday and Thursday, my bad. Okay, so Wednesday and Thursday. Uh, and we're still dealing with Mars and Pluto. Mars trine Neptune. The sun has moved forward though, so it's not quite in the T square. I mean, it's breaking apart the T square, but I will also say that the Mars-Pluto opposition has not perfected yet. We've still got another day or two before that perfects. But what we do have is the moon in Pisces now joining the situation with the North Node, Venus, Saturn, pretty much all, I guess the North Node has moved to 26 degrees, but the Venus, Moon, and Saturn will all meet up at 27 um, degrees of Pisces. And so I looked up the Sabian symbol for 27 Pisces. Of course, this is the third decan of Pisces, which is the Scorpio decan, Scorpio being about transformation and, seeking pleasure. But the Sabian symbol for 27 Pisces is appreciate or like reaping the harvest, reaping the rewards. And so perhaps this is the miracles that which I have been referring to in the last few videos here, is that this could be you experiencing a miracle because you chose to do the right, you chose to follow your soul's trajectory. I also feel like with the moon here, Venus is exalted in Pisces, with the North Node, the head of the dragon, um, Rahu, uh, with Saturn. It could be like this could really be like you get a download and you have to take action. Like you get an epiphany download and it's like, oh, I got to do this. Um, and for some of you, you may have already had this experience, provided you've been doing like the internal work with your chakras, particularly your solar plexus, your sacral, and your root chakras. I'm pointing at the air as if there's a picture right here for me to point at, and there's not. And it probably looks like I'm dorkily pointing at myself, but like, I don't know, I have this visual that's right here that there's nothing visual happening. Anyway, so whatever, forgive me. Um, maybe one of these days I'll get like a green screen and actually have something to point to back here. We'll see. I don't know. I have thoughts about that. I've been thinking about that lately because I know I've been doing this a lot, and I'm like, as if the chart is right behind me. Anyway, but if you have been really focused on healing, balancing, unblocking your solar plexus, your sacral, and your root, then you may have the space within your system to bring in a new piece of information, an epiphany, a divine download. This would be a good moment to keep a dream journal because a lot of people have been having heightened dreams, particularly if you are a um, Aries or Taurus rising, because all of this is happening around your, 11th, 12th-ish houses, depending on where your rising is, what degree point. But it's just looking at some client charts, and some of them are really experiencing a lot of, I don't want to say lucid dreams, but like communicating with themselves through their dreams. I think that's completely on point. And so I know I have very few dreams, but when I do dream, it's usually quite vivid. And so, you may want to be attentive to your dreams as we head through this Pisces moon, and just being attentive. Remember that Pisces rules the feet. So it's all about getting the intuitive hits through your crown, third eye, your throat, bringing it through your heart chakra and down into your solar plexus and your sacral and your root. And your root's what's actually going to put it into um, fruition and create it into a tangible product or project. And so as we're moving through these next couple of days here, particularly when does this, let's see, when does this perfect? April 24th, so that's Thursday. It perfects at about 9:50 p.m. So I Central Time. So, and that's the 27-degree conjunction between Saturn, the moon, and Venus. And so, and remember, these are actually these latter degree Pisces transits are still in an out of sign conjunction with Neptune because he's just right there at 0 Aries. So he's just a couple of degrees away from this triple conjunction here. And as the moon moves through it. So I would say this Thursday, the 24th, um, take your time. If you can get to sleep early, it might be good because you might have a restless dream night. In other words, you wake up at midnight, 2 a.m., and have to write something down. Okay. You may have to write something down. Again, we're still in an action-oriented state, but you want to make sure that you're intentionally resting when you can, for your own, health and all of that. And so kind of not a lot to say. I mean, I've talked about the Mars Pluto opposition. The sun is coming out of the T square to that, still within a couple of degrees there. I think the sun's at 5 degrees as of this Moon in Pisces video. Um, and so we're heading into that new moon. Uh, Yeah, the sun's at 5, so it's a couple degrees separation from that T square, but Mars is just at 2 degrees Leo. And Pluto's at 3 degrees. So, I mean, we're getting tighter as we head towards the moon in Aries. It'll probably perfect at that point. But remember that if this is the setup at the moon in Pisces, we'll then have the moon in Aries and the new moon on the 27th. That Mars Pluto opposition still going to be at play. So that's how long we're in this for. But the good news, I mean, well, I don't know if it's good news. I think it's just neutral news, but like the Saturn Venus thing will start to break apart a little bit after the next day or two. But they're still all going to be within a few degrees of each other for a couple more days here. And then we head into that new moon in Taurus. And Taurus new moons are great new moons, typically. I mean, there's been a few rocky roads because we've had Uranus, but this one's nowhere near Uranus. So, um, I think this is a really good time to, start thinking about your intentions for that new moon and the fact that you're getting all of this new vibe energy, this new action-oriented energy. And so I know there's probably still more tension there. I'm recording these way in advance, so I'm a good 10 days out probably at this point. I'm trying to film ahead because I have life events happening that are gonna keep me moving a lot more and more. And so I'm trying to film at least a week or two in advance at this point. So that's why I don't talk as much about the mundane or the geopolitical shit because I don't know what the fuck's going on today, let alone 2 weeks from now when this video will show up on your feed. So, I can tell you that it's Taurus season, so it will likely have something to do with food supply chains, money and financial systems, and just material goods and making sure that we get them. And that could have something to do with whatever's going on with tariffs by then. And it could have something to do with shipments via waterways and things like that. I can tell you that as we get closer and closer to the end of May into June, and certainly by the time we get into June, that we'll start to see more issues with technology. I heard a really cool thing the other day on a reel that said that they felt like our AI or artificial intelligence would actually bring people more doing business in person. And I agree. Because if you've ever had to deal with an automated phone system, you know it's easier. I don't, so I use AT&T. I know a lot of people poo-poo on AT&T. I've been with AT&T for like 20 years or something. And frankly, I don't want to change my phone number. So, um, but hopefully I just didn't give out like oh well, whatever. If you find me, I'll just block you. Um, but I never call customer service because I hate it. I've done it before and I friggin' hate it. I hate the runaround. I hate that nobody knows how to connect me from department to department. I always have to call a different number for this. And I go into the store and I take care of business in 5 minutes. Boom, done, done. Okay. So I kind of agree that I feel like that video is fairly accurate that artificial intelligence will actually have people do more things in person, and less things automated. And I think that is a good thing. I'm also hearing a lot more people who do content creation, no matter whether they do astrology, tarot, spiritual stuff, or if they do like coaching or other stuff. I'm hearing a lot more people wanting to do it live events and in-person events, and really start to build that connection. That's that Pluto in Aquarius. People are wanting to build connections in person, and get back out into the world. And yes, there's online, but think about it. You see me on a video for what, 20 minutes every other day. Um, and then for your monthly sun signs, but like imagine if you met me in person. It's totally different. I mean, it's not different as in I'm fake online. It's just that you get more of me and you get to see me be human, first of all, because I'm flaky as hell. Um, but you get to see my whole vibe, my whole energy. And I'm sure that anyone who's watching this video has met me in person would be like, man, she is a whole vibe. Okay. She lights up a room. And I do. I light up a room. At least the people who love me being around know that I light up a room. Anyway, so all that to say, like think about that during this Taurus season is like, what are you doing to get offline? And definitely as we move towards July, with Uranus and Gemini, I feel like that's when more people are going to get offline, and get in person and get live and do live events. I know that is a goal on um, uh, my list, and it's an intention for me. It's why I am working on different aspects of my life to make that happen. Um, because I do want to be doing more in-person stuff. Because in person, you can do an impromptu reading. I have done impromptu readings on the fly from my phone while wearing a hooded sweatshirt and a Carhartt coat. So, because I walked into the right place at the right time and somebody was like, you know, astrology, cool. Can you look at my chart? Um, so I totally get the vibe, and it's fun to just talk to people in person about stuff because most of us are fairly isolated in that we can talk about all kinds of different things with regards to spirituality, the ether, the ethers and all of that, that most people can't go there. I can have conversations with people that most people would be like, is she okay? Is she insane? Maybe I am insane. I don't know. But my point is that there's some of us who can have a very broad conversation about humanity, the earth, the cosmos, and whatnot. And most people cannot be in those conversations. It's too way far outside their conditioning and programming to even fathom it. And so I know when I'm around other people who can vibe like that, I'm like, where are we going with this conversation? How do we get there? And it's so much fun. So think about that. And I've heard, like I said, I've heard other content creators that are thinking the same thing, that they want to get out into the world because number one, again, we don't get a full vibe of humanity online. And to really check in and tune in to the energy, we do need to be around other people. And so I'm looking forward to making changes in my world that will make that happen for me, because I really want that. I want to be able to get the vibe of other people so that I have a better gauge on, okay, so this is what's happening with Neptune and Aries. I can gauge it from my own life experiences, but let's be real. I'm not around a lot of people most days of my life right now. And so Um, and that's fine to an extent, but astrology is human relations. So, understanding how people operate and whatnot. So, anywho, all that to say, one thing to think about for this Taurus season is what are you doing to, create that kind of, um, to create um, something in the physical world. And especially with this moon in Pisces, remember Pisces rules the feet. So, it is a good opportunity to check in on how and what you are doing to create things in the physical world, whether that is a tangible product or an attainable service, or whatever, meeting people in person, that kind of thing. So, um, anyway, I will get your Taurus sun and rising signs out. I'm looking at my calendar to figure out when I can do it because I have just life got busy all of a sudden. And I have a feeling it ain't going to slow down anytime soon. But I am committed to this channel. I am committed to this community, to you guys. I will continue to get content out. I will give you a solid heads up if I feel like there may be a break or a break in the action or a break in content. I am hoping I don't have to do that. But it could come to that. Just I may need to take like a temporary, we'll see. I've moved before and not had to take a break. So um, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't think I'm going to need to, but we'll see. I have some plans coming up that could change the trajectory of my life, which is great. So let's see what we got in the tarot for this moon in Pisces. Um, oh, the sun in reverse. Huh. All right, this you may not be feeling like full steam ahead. You may be feeling a little bit dimmed out. You may be feeling wait, what else we got with that? And we got the Wheel of Fortune upright. Hmm. Hmm. I think this is grief because I think it wasn't too long ago we got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. I think this is grief. I think this is processing what good you had to leave behind in order to go for the great. And this is pretty normal. It's going to happen. You're going to grieve the loss, even if it was something that was good. Like you're going to grieve any kind of loss, right? I used to live in this really awesome apartment and I loved it. It was literally the perfect. I literally remember saying if I could take this apartment and move it anywhere in the world, I'd take it with me. And it was great. It was a perfect layout, had a laundry room, which I very rarely had a laundry room in my home in my adult life. The only thing was missing was a dishwasher. I have only had a dishwasher like once in one place I've lived in my entire adult life. Anyway, um, but that apartment that was so wonderful had perfect pretty much everything, ended up being infested with bed bugs. So my perfect turned into my nightmare very quickly. But I think that's what this is. It's like your what you think is perfect and what actually is perfect are two different things, right? That apartment was great. It also then became like the worst place I ever like I wanted to get out of there so fast. You know what I mean? And I've lived in other places like that. I mean, Arizona was perfect, but it was running out of perfect. Do you know what I mean? And even now, like I can't go back to Arizona because I don't know anybody there anymore. Everybody I know doesn't live there. I think one of my friends still lives there, but she's not in a place where she has a different life circumstance now. So, but pretty much everyone else that I knew in Arizona doesn't live there anymore. So it's not a good time to go back to Arizona. But you know what I mean? Like the appeal of Arizona, like, do I want to live in Arizona? Absolutely. But I'm also not stupid. I know that we are in a time of needing to be resourced. Therefore, and Taurus is about resources. Therefore, moving to Arizona would be really dumb on my end. Because unfortunately, while yes, Arizona has transportation, I need to be around people that I know who can support and help me when I need support and help. And so there is a grief part of that. Like, damn it, I can't go the one place that I really loved being. That doesn't mean I will never go back to Arizona. Trust me, it's on my radar like every damn day. Okay. But it does mean that like there is some reason why I'm not being, and I feel like this could be it for you. Like you may be like, man, I really wanted to move to Florida, or I really wanted to get a job doing this or doing that. Trust me when I tell you, there have been jobs over the years that I have wanted, and then 2020 happened, and I'm glad I didn't get half the jobs that I could have had over the years because I don't know how I would have responded to 2020, but it wouldn't have been pleasant for wherever I had been would have been working. Um, and in the Woodland Wardens, we got the squirrel and the chestnut preparation. Yep. Because even if you choose to leave, excuse me, leave the job, leave the relationship, leave the community, whatever you choose, remember that this is still like a preparation. You know, getting yourself back into the flow of things to prepare yourself or gear up for the next thing that opens up later this year, early next year. So you may feel a little dimmed out by it or derailed by it, but it's also like sometimes you need that kick in your complacency. So that's what I think with this. You're being prepared. We're all being prepared because we are not done with this Pisces energy. Remember, these planets are going to retrograde back into Pisces later this year. So even though everything's moving forward right now, we're still going to come back to Pisces by the end of summer. So anywho, I hope this was helpful. I hope you're doing great. I hope things are going well for you, and I hope you're enjoying the forward momentum of the personal planets right now, and the forward momentum of the outer planets because nothing's retrograde at the moment. So, yeah, keep moving forward, taking action daily as to where you want your next thing, adventure, endeavor to come from. So, take care. See you guys next time.